You know how people say the future creeps up on you slowly? Well, sometimes it just kicks the door down. And on one single night in April 2026, that's exactly what it felt like. A whole series of what looked like random announcements dropped, and when the dust settled, the entire tech landscape looked different. So let's break down exactly what happened. You're going to want to remember this date, April 10th, 2026. This is one of those moments we're all going to look back on as a real turning point. And we're not just talking about shiny new gadgets here. We're talking about whole new philosophies, a whole new scale of power, and a completely new relationship between us and our technology. 6 different companies. You've got social media giants, gaming legends, hardware innovators, AI startups. 6 stories that, on the surface, seem to have nothing to do with each other at all. But as you're about to see, they're not separate stories. They're all pieces of the same giant, incredible puzzle that's building our digital future. So, first up, let's talk about the big guns. See, the new arms race in AI, it's not just about who can code the smartest bot anymore. No, this is way deeper. It's a battle over the very philosophy of what AI should be, and at the same time, a raw, brutal fight for pure computational power. And this all kicked off with a massive, and I mean massive, strategic shift from a company we all know, Meta. For years, they were basically the poster child for open source AI, sharing their work, their llama models, with everyone. But on this night, they signaled a huge change in course. So check this out. This slide really lays it all bare. On the one hand, you have the past, the Llama series, open for everybody, kind of general. And on the other, you have the future, Muse Spark. It's proprietary, meaning it's theirs and theirs alone. The goal, nothing short of a personal superintelligence. Oh, and get this, it does everything the old models did but uses 10 times less computing power. That's not an upgrade, that's a whole new ballgame. And this quote, it just nails their vision. Alexander Wang, the guy in charge of their new superintelligence labs, isn't talking about a slightly better chatbot here. He's talking about an AI that's woven into the fabric of your life, in your WhatsApp, your Instagram, your glasses. They're moving AI from a public tool to a private confidant. Okay, so while Meta is playing this game of philosophical chess, another player comes along and decides to just flip the whole board over. We're talking about Elon Musk's XAI, and their strategy? It's a lot simpler. It's all about sheer, overwhelming power. $659 million. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not for the whole company. That's for one new building for their data center in Memphis. This isn't just an expansion, it's a declaration of war. And here's the why behind that insane number. For Musk, it's simple. The AI race is a war of infrastructure. Whoever has the biggest, most powerful supercomputer, which he's actually calling Colossus, wins. So while Meta is busy crafting this super precise laser scalpel, XAI is just building the biggest damn hammer the world has ever seen. All right, so you've got this epic battle of titans happening up in the clouds, right? Philosophy versus raw power. But what does that actually mean for you and me down here on the ground? Well, this is where the story pivots, because the other big theme of the night was about AI changing from a passive tool into an active co-pilot in our everyday lives. Just take a look at what Valve is doing with Steam. They're rolling out something called Steam GPT. Right away, support tickets that used to take days now take minutes. But the real game changer? Cheat detection. It's not just looking for a file named cheat.exe anymore. No, it's watching how people play. It's looking for those impossible, not quite human reflexes in real time. It's a proactive sheriff, not a reactive detective. And this idea of an AI co-pilot, it's not just for fun and games. On the exact same night, it jumped straight into something incredibly personal for all of us. Our money. The AI search engine Perplexity announced it's teaming up with Plaid, the network that connects to all your bank accounts. And this is where it gets crazy useful. You securely hook up your accounts, and then you can just ask it stuff in plain English. Like, hey, how much did I blow on takeout last month across all my cards? And boom, you get an instant, actionable answer. The AI isn't just giving you information anymore. It's becoming your personal financial analyst. Okay, but all this amazing software, this superintelligence, these co-pilots, it can't just float in the cloud, right? It needs a place to live. It needs hardware. And that was the third huge story of Tech Night, the physical gear finally catching up to the digital dream, right in our own hands. For as long as I can remember, buying a laptop has been a compromise. You want it to be light? It's going to be weak. You want it to be powerful? Get ready to lug around a brick. You could never have both. Well, MSI just said, Nope, not anymore. Look at that, 899 grams. That's the weight of their new Prestige 13 AI Plus. That's nothing. It weighs less than a textbook. But then, on the very same night, they also dropped this, 300 watts. That is the insane amount of combined power their new Raider 18 Max HX can pump into its CPU and top-tier graphics card at the same time. That's the kind of juice you need to do serious AI work right on your own machine. In one night, MSI showed us both ends of the spectrum. The compromise? It's dead. Gone. But look, this kind of power is kind of useless if only a handful of people can afford it. A real revolution needs to be for everyone. And that's where the next piece of the puzzle from CMF by nothing comes into play. Just look at the jump here for their new CMF Phone 3 Pro. They're moving to a way more powerful Snapdragon chip, one that's actually built to handle this new AI stuff. They're going from a plastic frame to a premium metal one, bigger battery, faster charging. These aren't just minor updates. These are features you used to have to pay top dollar for, and now they're making sure everyone can have a device that's ready for this new AI world. So, let's pull back for a second. What happens when you put all these pieces together? The AI arms race, the personal co-pilots, the hardware revolution. Tech Night wasn't just a random night of product launches. It was the moment the blueprint for the next decade of tech was revealed all at once. And here's the key takeaway. It all boils down to these three pillars. First, you've got the vision, the big idea of a personal superintelligence from Meta. Then, you've got the raw power, the massive infrastructure from xAI that makes it all possible. And finally, you have the hardware from MSI and CMF that actually puts that power into our hands. You see? They're not separate stories. They're all connected. One can't exist without the others. And that leaves us with the one big, kind of scary question that hung in the air after that night. As this AI gets smarter, more powerful, more integrated into every single thing we do, as it manages our games, our money, our lives, you have to stop and ask yourself, when your AI knows you this well, who's really the assistant here? Something to think about.